Alright, welcome back to the Drum Mission. Today we're going to do another one of our top 10 videos. This is the top 10 John Bonham grooves that you gotta know if you want to play in the clubs. These are from least to most, 10 being the least, 1 being the most, grooves and songs or whatever that I had to play from John Bonham over the course of my career. Alright, number 10, are you ready? This actually is the only one on the list I've never actually had to play live. But it is one of his most talked about grooves. It is the song 4 Stix from Zeppelin 4, in which he uses 4 sticks. I'm going to demonstrate this with 2 sticks, and then we'll show you the final version. I'm only going to talk about the verse. Which is in 5/4. And the bridge or the chorus is similar. It is in 6/4. It's very similar. If you can do one, you can do the other. So we're going to talk about the 5/4 one. It's a little more difficult. First of all, he starts with his thing, one of his gimmicks. I hate to say the word gimmick, but it is one of his things. He does the hi-hat on the downbeats and the bass drum on the upbeats. He's doing this all the way through the verse, which the first time is 11 bars. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 5 and. Alright, and then he takes the floor tom and he puts that with the hat. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and. Now here's where it gets complicated. He takes his rack tom and he plays sort of accents with the melody. And that melody, if you remember, is ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum. He sort of plays around with that. He doesn't do it consistently, but most often he does 1, the and of 2, and 4. So slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and. But he does other things too with that. Sometimes he goes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and a whole host of other things. Let me grab the other 2 sticks. Reconfigure the cameras a little bit, and give you the up tempo, which is about 200 beats a minute version of this. 4 sticks, again, close to 200 beats a minute. But I'm going to do this from my head, from what I remember the melody to be. Alright, number 9, Ramble On. All the others on this list I've played at least once, Ramble On several times. Very easy beat. I'm not going to do it slow. I was going to put the headphones on and play with the record, but I'm not going to bother with that. First half of the beat's very simple. You get the bass drum on 1, the da of 1, and the and of 2, and the snare on 2, 8 notes on the hi-hat. Let me play that for you. Again, kind of quiet. The hard part is in the second half of the beat, from beats 3 to 1, you've got the bass drum playing all the E's and Does. 3 E and the 4 E and Da. And then, really, you got the second bar. It's a 2-bar phrase. Second bar is snare on the downbeats. I will play it slow once. Now up to tempo and up to volume. Here we go. All right, guys. Over the hills and far away. Number 8. The groove in this tune is almost the same as Ramble On. And I'm just going to be showing you the little hook that's in there. That little hook. It's like the drumming linchpin. You've heard it. Dun-dun-ga-ducks, dun-dun-ga-duck-dun-dun-ga-ducks. Because it's cool. But everything else in the tune is related to that. If you can do this part, you can do the rest of the tune. And you need to know it because, yes, I have had to play this live on request. So the only big difference between Ramble On and this is that bass drum is on the E of 2 while it's opening the hi-hat. He still does the E and does after 3. He loves that. It's a 1 bar phrase instead of 2, but let's do it slow and let you see. Here we go. Up the tempo now. I put the ending of that groove onto it too. Okay, coming up to number 7. All right, number 7, the crunge. The crunge. A little complicated, this one. Not that hard though, but a little complicated. This is a 9/8. Okay, and this is an iconic groove for John. And yes, I have played this more than once, even on request, even on cruise ships. I've done this. It's a little tricky, but the first half is not. Okay, so don't think of this as 9. Think of this as 4 and 5 or 5 and 4. Either way is fine. We're going to take it from the very beginning of the record. The beginning of the record starts with the 4 part. Some people say that's the second half of the bar. Doesn't really matter to me. 5/4, 4/5, how you think of it. But let's take the 4 part. That's the easy way. Very simple. We're going to do 4. This would be like 4/8, 4/8 notes on the hi-hat. 3's a backbeat on the snare. 1 on the bass drum. But when we hit 1, we're going to open the hi-hat with it. Nice and slow. Are you ready? One, two, three, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Easy peasy, easy peasy. All right, the 5/4 part, or 5/8 part, I'm sorry, this is the tricky part. This starts on the and of the 4 section here, right? It's like a 2 bar phrase, you can think of it that way, or a 1 bar phrase broken up into 4 and 5. This starts on the and of 4, and we are opening the hi-hat with the bass drum on the and of 4, then 2 ghost notes on the snare, and then again we're going to open the hi-hat and close the hi-hat with the bass drum on 2 and. This is much easier to show you than explain it. Again, I have a whole video on this that I will link in the description. So here we go, from that and of 4. 1 and 2 and. 1 and 2 and. 1 and 2 and. See, I'm opening it up each time. We continue it with 3, 4, 5. So the whole little 5 pattern now, and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. And 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. Let's do the whole thing. All right, now let's take it up to tempo. I love that groove. I love that groove. And matter of fact, if you can learn that, and when you're doing your sound check, if you just play that groove, right away you put into the heads of the rest of the band, especially if you're freelancing, that you know what you're doing. All right, that was number 7. Let's move on to number 6. Maybe one of his most famous grooves. All right, now, number 6, one of his most iconic grooves, Fool in the Rain. I like this groove because it shows that Bonham was listening to other folks and getting inspired. Right, so this groove is commonly known as a halftime shuffle, but in that time period, more so than now, was known as the Purdy Shuffle, because Bernard Purdy really is the one that made it famous in Home at Last by Steely Dan. And it became like the talk of the town, and then other guys kind of copied it. Matter of fact, Jeff Porcaro admits to stealing his groove for Rosanna from both Bonham and Bernard Purdy. Okay, so the halftime shuffle. I'm not going to get into this in depth. We're going to talk about the groove. I'm going to link my whole video on Fool and Rain in the description. And let's start with the shuffle. Let's build it from bottom up. The shuffle basically is the first and the third of the triplet of each grouping. So 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1. So I'm just playing the let and the triplet, or you can count it 1 into 2 into 3 into 4. 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. All right, so far easy peasy. Then we're going to put a backbeat on 3, not 2 and 4. 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. A 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. If you prefer, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1. I don't like counting it that way. It's way too difficult. A lot of guys on YouTube do. I think it's overkill. You can go 1 end to 2 end, easier to say and gets the job done. All right, now we're going to add our feet. The bass drum plays 1, the let or the duh of 1, the let or the duh of 2, and then the let or the duh of 4. So watch, let's put that together. Again, not too quick. Here we go. All right, now the ghost notes. He only does 2. He doesn't do as many as Purdy does. He does the trip, which is the middle triplet. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4. Right? He does trip of 2 and then trip of 4. So again, let's add that. And finally, the signature of the beat, that hi-hat opening up on the let or the duh of 1. Here we go. All right, that was number 6. Let's move on to number 5. Another iconic beat. Most of Bonham's grooves are iconic. A lot of controversy around this groove. When the Levee breaks. I love this groove. This is another one. You can do a sound check and you play this one, right away the band's going to dig you. They're going to like it. Right away. From the get-go, you're starting out with telling them that, hey man, I kind of like cool stuff. All right? It's a little bit of a psychological trick, especially if you're freelancing. I do it all the time. All right? That's all I got going for me. I mean, look at me. All right. So, here we go. When the Levee breaks, very simple. 8's on the hi-hat, it's in 4/4, 2 and 4 on the snare, really hard. We want to play really loud, really hard. The bass drum is where it gets a little controversial. I think what he played in the studio or in the hall, whatever he did, was 1 on the bass drum, 1, the duh of 2, these are 16th notes, and then the and the duh of 3. However, they had echo on his drum kit. So it sounds like he's doing 1 E, and then the duh of 2, and the and the duh of 3. So, if I'm going to play this with a band, I'm going to play it with the 1 E. So let me show you I'm not going to really spend a lot of time on this one. Let me show you the way I think he actually played it, and then we'll do the way I would play it if I was playing it in a nightclub. So here we go. I'm not doing this slow. It's really slow already. Here we go. Again, if I was in the nightclub or I was doing a sound check and I wanted to, I don't know, psychologically impress the guys I was playing with, I would play it this way. And that is about the right tempo for it. And again, I'm doing that 1 E, and I think that sounds more like the record. Was that echo and he played it the without the E? Don't know. Don't care. All you have to know is that you have to recreate what was on the recording. All right, guys, we're up to number 4, the ocean. All right, this is a little bit tricky, but if you sing the melody, it's not at all. It's a 2-bar phrase. The second bar is in 7/8. First bar is simple. Okay, and you've heard it a million times. We got 8s on the hi-hat. We're going to have 2, 4, and 4 and on the snare, 1 and 3 on the bass drum. And I'm going to, sing it with my beautiful voice just so you can hear. Okay. Down, 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 down. Down, 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 down. Down, 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 down. Now the second bar, there's kind of 2 ways you can do it. There's the way that people think that he does it, and then there's the way that most of us do it. So let me show you the way that people think he does it first, okay? It's a bar of 7/8, so we're going to play all 7 on the hi-hat, 1 on the bass drum, 3 on the bass drum, and then at 5, that's where it changes. Let me show you the way people think he does it. Nice and slow. Down, 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 down. That's the way most people think he does it. I'm not sure. He probably does. I'm going to show you the way that I play it. And I'm going to use my beautiful voice to sing it. Here we go. Down, down, down. Let's move right along. All right, we're down to the last 3. This is number 3, rock and roll. And all these last 3, I have been asked to play more times than I can count. So, rock and roll, deceptively simple. I'm not sure if I said that right. People generally don't play this the right way. I'm not going to talk about the intro or the drum solo at the end in this. I'm going to talk a little bit about the intro and nothing about the solo at the end. Again, I will link in the description to a full video I have on the entire thing. But the bulk of the beat, and where everybody gets it wrong, is they don't play the snare and the hi-hat together all the way through. So this is an old New Orleans thing that John Bonham is doing. And we got the hi-hats kind of open. He's doing 8 on the hi-hat, 1 and 3 on the bass drum. But in his snare hand, he's playing all of the 8th notes, accenting 2 and 4. So, again, not too quick. Simple. I did that slow, and I didn't do it as sloshily as with the hi-hat as normally I would do it, just so for the sake of the video. But let me take that up to tempo, but I'll talk a second about the intro. What you got to remember about the intro is it starts on the end of 3. It does not start on 1. It starts on the end of 3, and so all you really have to know is Bonham kind of is emulating that Little Richard Chuck Berry thing of that's really what he's playing in the intro. That's all I'm going to say about it for now, but let's do the bulk of the beat. Again, I'll link the full video in the description. Here we go. The last two. All right, number 2. I literally play this song once a week. It's the Immigrant Song from, I think it's on Zeppelin 3. I'm not actually sure about that. I'll check it and post it. Anyway, again, People have misconceptions about this. It's a difficult song physically, not so difficult mentally. Alright, very easy up top. 8s on the hi-hat, 2 and 4 on the snare. Where it gets difficult is in the bass drum, and a little controversy. Once again, in the bass drum, we have 1, the and of 1, and the duh of 1. Then the E of 2. And then some people think he plays the duh of 2 and 3. Others think, which I fall into that category because I've listened to this song a lot, headphones off YouTube. He plays the duh of 2 as a little more than a ghost note in his snare hand, and then plays 3. Once again, I'll show you both. Let me show you the harder version on the foot, okay? So, nice and slow, nice and slow. If you had to play that for a long period of time, it would be a little cumbersome. Let me show you the way I do it and the way most people, I think, do it. Alright, now up to tempo. The Immigrant Song, the #1 beat, I think, of Bonham. Historic. The tune is historic. It's so simple, and yet the feeling. And this is Kasmir. Kasmir. Very simple. 8th notes on the hi-hat, 1 and 3 on the bass drum, 2 and 4 on the snare. Again, we got that echo. If I was playing this, I would do 1 E and not 1. Let's do it now.